Hi everyone, and welcome to Protocol 36, and in today's video, I'll be explaining why Venom Let There Be Carnage, or the SUMC, does not take place in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe. Now before we get started, if at any point you enjoy this video, I would really appreciate if you could drop a like, as that would really help out this channel. Thank you. Now this theory has been going around for the last few days. Heck, it even started in the Morbius trailer when we first saw the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit from the Spider-Man PS4 screenshot being graffitied over a wall. But it was the recent Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer that pretty much made a lot of people think that it could take place in the same universe as Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which I think many of us, including myself, don't really think that's the case, and I'm going to explain why. Now if you disagree with this video, that's absolutely fine. This isn't any way of attacking anyone who made this theory or believes it to be true. This is just me saying what I believe, but at the end of the day, nothing has been confirmed as of yet, so there's a chance that I could be wrong. But again, this is just a fan saying what he thinks, that's all. But without further ado, let's get into why I don't think that's the case. Now let's start off with the obvious, and that is, in Spider-Man 3, we already had a Venom and an Eddie Brock in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe. Now personally, I think that's enough to debunk that theory. The reason why is because, well, we already had a symbiote in that universe, which was obviously killed by Peter. Same with Eddie Brock, though that one was an accident. But with people saying that Venom 2 could possibly retcon Spider-Man 3, I very much doubt that that's the case. I think, if anything, Sony and everyone are just going to embrace that movie existed, and that's that. I don't think they're going to do anything to retcon Spider-Man 3 or to deem it as non-canon. I don't see that happening at all. Sam Raimi may have hated Spider-Man 3, but I think Sam Raimi would be the type of person where he would let the story just go on, regardless of how he felt with Spider-Man 3, as he was about to make Spider-Man 4. But obviously due to him being put in a time limit, he couldn't really make the film that he wanted, therefore leaving the project. So when it comes to Spider-Man 3, I think Sony are just gonna leave it alone. I don't think there's really a point in retconning Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 may not have been everyone's favorite Spider-Man movie. It still might not be the case for a lot of people, but later on people have grown to appreciate it more. And the next point is pretty much what everyone has been talking about, and that's the Daily Bugle logo. Now, as everyone has pointed out, and many of you spotted, the Daily Bugle logo for Venom Let There Be Carnage is the exact same logo we see in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe, pretty much making people think that the two are somehow connected, or the Tom Hardy Venom does live in the same world as Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Though, to be honest, that's most likely an Easter egg or a reference to those movies than just them being in the same world. That's the only way I see it, and that's the only way it would make sense. And even if the two were connected, I don't think there would be a point. Now, I know that Spider-Man 4 is rumored to happen. I even made a video about it, which you can check out in the card in the right hand corner of the video. But personally, I think Spider-Man 4 isn't happening. I think the only Spider-Man 4 we're going to get is Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4 after Spider-Man No Way Home, pretty much following MCU Peter Parker's adventures in college. So as of right now, I don't think Spider-Man 4 will be happening, especially when they discontinued the franchise after rebooting it with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And sure, they might be bringing in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man into Spider-Man No Way Home, but I seriously doubt he'll be coming back after that movie, unless it's something like Into the Spider-Verse 2, which I can see him doing. Not to mention with the small little Easter egg everyone caught on with the article saying Avengers, possibly saying Avengers. We don't really know if it says Avengers, it could be passengers or messengers, but it may in fact reference the Avengers, which if that's the case, it couldn't take place in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe, because in that universe, he's pretty much the only, if not the biggest superhero in that world. So I definitely don't think that's the case. Plus, there's the fact that Vulture appears in the Morbius trailer, which obviously indicates that the Venom and Morbius films does take place in the MCU, or at least that's what Sony wants us to believe. Which obviously leads to my next point, and that is pretty much adjacent with the MCU, as Andy Serkis kind of hinted that being the case, saying that other characters like Spider-Man do exist, but Venom is unaware of him, and that Venom takes place in its own little bubble. Though you can read between the lines, and there is a good point to be made that those films take place in its own universe, which personally I think makes the most sense, as it wouldn't really make sense for Venom to be unaware of Spider-Man, especially after Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't see how Eddie and the symbiote would not know about Spider-Man when he was framed for Mysterio's murder, unless it takes place before Spider-Man Homecoming, where Peter wasn't really that well known to the public other than YouTube videos, of course. Plus, there are just way too many plot holes for it to take place in the MCU, and in my opinion, there wouldn't really be a point in having MCU Spider-Man fight Tom Hardy's Venom, other than for the sake of fan service, of course, because of the drastic changes the first film made to his origin story. Not to mention, when Spider-Man came back to the MCU, Kevin Feige did make a statement saying that Peter Parker is the only superhero to travel between cinematic universes, which I obviously think he's referring to Sony's universe of Marvel characters. And even though I said that there's no point in having both of the characters fight, we're probably going to see that sooner or later, and obviously Spider-Man will be the bridge between the Sony films and the MCU. So personally, I think it takes place in its own universe, with Sony pretty much wanting us to think it takes place in the MCU, while the MCU won't acknowledge those films. But we just have to wait and see how it plays out. I'm not really expecting Tom Holland to show up in Venom Let There Be Carnage. I think Andy Serkis pretty much kind of made it clear that Spider-Man will most likely not show up in the film. However, this is just my theory and belief that it will not be in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe, but is most likely in its own universe. However, I'm more interested in what your theories are. Do you agree with what I said, that it does not take place in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe? Or do you actually think it takes place in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe? And if so, why? I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and want more, subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.